if sales have been slow in 2024, let's talk about how we make that stop happening in 2025. So much has changed in how we attract people to our businesses, how we make sales, and there's been this really kind of mold between how people were buying during COVID versus how people were buying pre-COVID and what that actually means in how people are buying now. So let's just talk about what this actually looks like. So pre-COVID, there were not very many people who wanted to buy online. A lot of people were scared of the internet. They were scared of buying things online. They weren't sure whether they would be able to trust what they bought. And then lockdown happened and everyone was suddenly purchasing everything online. And as an online business owner, we saw there's a massive spike in people buying our things. And actually, for a period of time, you didn't really have to try very hard. You had a captive audience. Everyone was sitting on the internet, sitting at home, trying to fill their time. A lot of people were thinking about changing careers, were thinking about how they could make money, were in a very kind of different space as to how they were approaching the world. And then sales went through the roof. People were buying things left, right, and center through an online space. And a lot of people started to suddenly learn what it meant to go into a marketing funnel, what it meant if you gave somebody your email address, how that actually started to affect. And now I'm hearing so many people say things like, oh, I get like 200 emails a day. It's so impossible. I absolutely hate it. I'm so cautious about where I put my email address now, who I give my email address to, which means that just going through that standard, oh, hey, look, I've got this free thing, doesn't necessarily work as well as what it was doing 3 or 4 years ago. Now we have to think about this differently, about how we approach sales, how we approach attraction, and we have to do a kind of hybrid approach because people will only download your thing once they have a level of trust with you, once they have a level of like understanding of what you do. And in order to do that, we have to do more upfront. We can't just do one tiny post and expect people to get on board. Now, when we're going through and we're thinking about this, we have to think about what are we creating? What are the attraction strategies to get people in? And you've got multiple ways of doing attraction, but you've also got multiple ways of making sales in your business. So you can make sales through an automated funnel, through a process that is systemized, and people come in through your funnel, they come in through a lead magnet, they download something, and they come into your world. But you can also make sales just by meeting people, doing one-to-ones, getting recommended, like having conversations and just saying to people, oh yeah, actually this is what I do, and then sending them a proposal or an invoice for what that could look like. Like there are so many ways that you can make sales which are not within this like marketing funnel space. And it's really, really important that you understand that as a business owner. And I always say to people, like, building a funnel is great. Okay, wonderful. It is so good to have that systemization, to have that process where somebody can get to know you and find out more about you, and it's all automated and it's really structured, and that's wonderful. But no matter how good your funnel is, no matter how well you build it, no matter how amazing your offer is at the end, if nobody comes into that funnel, it is still a waste of time. And a lot of people nowadays are building really big funnels and then they're pushing people in through paid advertising. But if you're a new business owner and you don't have that money for paid advertising, or you're not 100% sure if your funnel is as effective as you want it to be and you still want to test it, and you don't have money to put into it, you have to then find organic ways to get people in to that lead magnet. Now, something that I've been noticing over the past couple of months as we're sort of wrapping up 2024 is that I get a lot more people into my funnel when I'm actually doing live talks. So when I am delivering a webinar, when I am going and speaking at somebody else's event, when I am going into a Facebook community and doing a live talk. And in that presentation, I'm saying to people, by the way, I have this free thing that you can download. So at the moment, I'm pushing people to 2 different free things. And depending on what community I'm in, what talk I'm giving, what topic I'm talking about, will depend on whether I push them into one or the other. So one is my 40-page guide on how to actually start to pay yourself now. So it talks about business foundations, it talks about setup, it talks about finances, it talks about structure. It gives you so much detail and information. And then on the flip side, the second thing that I'm pushing people into is a 37-page document, which is a full template guide. So it has templates on how to set goals, how to break down your work, how to plan your days, how to plan your meals, how to, have it track, like templates for literally everything for your whole year, for the whole of 2025, so that people can get a head start on their planning. They can get a head start on their strategy. They can make sure that actually they're mapping out their year properly and getting as much done as possible. And that normally means planning less and doing more rather than planning more and doing less, which is a great thing for people to think about. So I've got these two key things, and I'll link them both below. If you guys want access to them, you can grab them. But both of those things are like topics, like lead magnets that I can push people to say, okay, well, if you're listening to me talk about how to start paying yourself now, and I'm busy giving this presentation, by the way, there's a guide. If I'm doing a talk on how to prepare for 2025, I'm like, oh, by the way, I've got these templates that you can download that will help you with this, and they're free. So when I'm actually doing a structured talk, people are in front of me, and then I'm offering them something in that process, it's then becoming a system where I'm getting. So I was saying, I did a speaking event last month or beginning of this month, actually, beginning of November. And in that speaker event, I had a room of 15 people who were watching me live, and then some people who watched on the replay after the fact. But from that full event, I had 7 people sign up to my email list overnight. So from when the talk went live until the next morning, 7 people straight onto the list. So that is a really good way to go, okay, well, I know that if I get into events that are bigger or Facebook groups that are bigger, or, I actually am doing something where I'm live, I can then convert more people. So then I start looking at that and I go, okay, well then how do I do that in multiple different ways? How do I create YouTube videos and actually get people to engage and then download my thing from there? How do I move that onto Instagram and do Instagram lives and talk live on Instagram and teach people things and get them to download from there? You want to think about how do you actually structure this in a way that starts to then add value and moves the thing that you do very well into multiple different places so that you can get more traction into your funnel and into your email list and into places where people can make sales. Now, realistically, something to think about is, those 7 people who just joined my email list, they're not going to necessarily go through my first email sequence and then just buy. But what they will do is they will drop into my normal mailing sequence and they will get access to my podcast. They will get access to my YouTube videos. They will get access to, information that I share on Mondays. And all of this will start to build this level of authority, this level of value of people going, oh wow, actually Jackie can really help me. She can really help me get a result. She can really help me break through this thing that I'm struggling with. She really understands what's going on in my business. And by going through that process, when I then put out offers, so either like for instance Black Friday offers, or when I opened up my one-to-ones for 2025, which have sold out, so can't work with me one-to-one anymore. Or when I put out the balance code like Startup School and I say to people, hey, this is how you can come and join the balance code Startup School, I'm more likely to have people then purchase because they've gone through a nurture sequence that tells them all about me. Then they've come into my email list and they've received regular updates and regular emails about what it is that is going on in the world of business strategy, what is happening with the startups, what are all of the things that people need to be thinking about, what I'm seeing in the market. And I'm sharing all of this value with people to make sure that it's easy for them to then engage and say, okay, this is the person that I want to work with. This is the person who can help me add value. And if you look at my one-to-one offers as an example, I literally sent out an email off the fly. I wasn't planning to send it. It wasn't my normal email for the day. I literally just thought, like, had some inspiration, thought, oh my gosh, let's just send out this email and like make the offer to people if they do want to come and they do want to work with me in this way. And by doing that, sending that one email, I sold out all of my 2025 coaching spots. And the only reason that that happened is because I speak to my email list regularly. It wasn't like, oh, I hadn't sent an email for a year and I sent that one email and then suddenly I sold out. That's not how it works. It's because my email list has seen a YouTube video every Friday, a meditation that comes out. They've seen a podcast every week. They've seen Instagram content that I'm like sending people to. They've seen all of this content that I've been creating. And this is what I want you to think about as you go through this process and you start thinking about how do you actually attract people in? And then how do you take those that you've attracted in and turn them into clients in the future? It's not through one thing. Yes, it used to be. Yes, you used to be able to get people into a funnel, take them through one email sequence, and then suddenly have people buy from you. That's how I sold out my first program. That's how I made sales in my first year of business. It got easier then when the pandemic happened. But actually, now we've got to think about this as more of an omnipresent, like complete strategy of not just how do I, flog this funnel and hope that people join it. It's rather about how do I show people the amount of value that I can add and that them giving me their email address is actually going to add value for them, actually going to get them a result, it's actually going to move them forward. Because if we can't do that, if we can't show people the value that we add right up front, why are they going to buy from us? Why are they going to become customers? Now, depending on what type of business you have, your attraction strategy could not be a funnel at all. Your attraction strategy could be direct email marketing, where you're creating a list of emails and you're just directly emailing. I've got a number of clients who are doing this with corporate, who are literally just direct emailing saying, I've got this training program, or I've got this coaching offer, or I've got, this process or system that I can bring into your organization that will really help your people get X, Y, Z. And they're just doing a direct outreach. But again, they have a system in place. They have a way of saying, this is how I do this. This is what I'm creating. This is what I want these people to see. This is where I want to lead them to. I want to get them onto my LinkedIn. I want to get them to see the things that I'm posting and see the interactions that I'm having. There are so many different ways of doing this. But the really, really key thing is that if you're not making sales now in 2024, something has to change going into 2025. You've got to think about how do you make deeper connections with people? How do you create that link for people? And you could ask yourself, like, who are your clients that you've worked with this year in 2024? Can you make a list of all of those people? And can you go out to those people and ask them if they could each refer one other person to you? You could potentially double your client base just through that one action. And if you've gotten people really good results, they should be so happy to refer you. You could ask them, instead of referring you, to actually write a testimonial or do a little testimonial video. Again, it could be such a way that you could showcase the work that you're doing with people, showcase how you're helping people. And you can get clients off the back of that. You can go out and approach people who have got podcasts and ask, can I be a guest on your podcast? Can I come and talk about the thing that I teach on your podcast? Can I come and add value for your audience? The same in Facebook groups, the same in going and actually to live networking events and being a speaker. There are so many ways that you can get out and get in front of new audiences, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there and take those steps. Being an online business owner is not just like, oh, I'm going to post one reel and go viral and then suddenly have all of these clients. There is more to it than that. You have to build actual connection with people. You have to build actual authority with people, actual like people knowing who you are, knowing that you can help, knowing that you can show up for them, knowing that you can get them results, knowing that you are the person who they can actually trust to do the work with them. There are so many people in the space online right now who are making these huge, bold promises and not sticking to them. Not sticking to them at all. And when you go through this process and you've been burned in this way of somebody not sticking to a promise, then you're way more cautious about the second purchase that you make. You're way more cautious about the person that you give your money to. So you've got to think to yourself, you know, if people are way more cautious in the process that they're coming through and that they're buying from you, how do we make them understand that we are a good option? How do we make them understand that we are going to get them a result, that we are going to work in a way that is there to support them, that we're going to show up to help them get the results? And so many people coming out of 2024 and into 2025 are looking for intimacy. They're looking for connection. They're looking for results. And they're looking for somebody who's actually going to not just hold them accountable or, you know, get them to think about it harder. They're looking for somebody who's actually going to say to them, these are the ways I tried. What do you think's best for you? This is what I'm seeing my clients do. This is what I'm seeing happen in the industry. These are other options and other ways to think about this. And when you can be that person to, instead of just say to somebody, you know, well, you've got the answer within, you need to think about it, you need to decide what's best for you. You say to them, okay, well, here's 6 ideas, and you can decide if one of those is good for you or if it sparks another idea and you find something else. I think it's so valuable to understand that people want guidance. They want help. They want people to say to them, this is what I'm trying, this is what's working. You know, they want that community. They want all of those aspects where they've actually got somebody who's going to actually help them get the result. So ask yourself, how are you being that person? How are you stepping into that leadership role and saying, I am the person who can help you get the result. I am the person who can give you loads of options. I had a really, really interesting call last week with a lady who is looking for somebody to help her with her business. She's a startup. She's trying to figure out what she's going to do, how she's going to like package everything, what it's going to look like. And she was saying to me, she got referred to me by somebody else, so she didn't know 100% what I did. And she was saying to me, like, without being disrespectful, I don't want a life coach. I don't want somebody who's going to tell me, like, to go and think about this harder and try and figure it out. She was like, I want somebody who's just going to tell me what to do. And I was like, well, it's a good thing I'm a business strategist then and not a life coach, because I'm going to give you loads of options. I'm going to say to you, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could do that. Like, this would be something that would be so cool. You know, when you tell me all of this, this is the thing that comes to mind. Like, this is how I think we can package it. And she was like, yeah, incredible. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And this is what I want you to think about. If your customer is sitting in their problem at the moment, what is the answer for them? And how do you just show up and give them the answer? How do you just show up and give them the thing that they need to move forward? And the more that we can do that, and the more that we can show up in this way, and the more that we can add value, and the more that we can help people move and get momentum, the easier it is for people to then start investing. The easier it is for people to say, yes, actually, this is what I want to do. These are the steps that I want to take. So I want you to really think about this process. Like, if you're going to do a funnel, if you're going to create something that is automated, a marketing funnel, a sales funnel that pushes people from a lead magnet into an email sequence, into a thing that you sell, drop into your normal mailing list, how are you going to actually attract people into the front of that? There's no point in building the whole system if you've got no attraction method in. And then, as well as attracting people into that funnel, how are you then going to do sales generating activities and actually sit down and say, how am I going to actually get people to buy from me? How am I actually going to get people to come into my offers? And what does that look like? So for me, I know, for instance, that so many people are saying that they want intimacy, they want connection, they want real accountability. They don't just want to buy an online program. So I'm going to be running the Balance Code Startup School as a live version for the first time in years at the beginning of next year. And by doing that, I'm listening to the community around me. I'm listening to what everyone's saying, and I'm saying, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Yes, of course we want to do this. Yes, of course we want to bring this element in. Like, it'll probably take us 5 to 6 months to run through all of the training live and get people from like starting their business to being really structured and having a way to sell and like knowing how they're going out into the world. And that's super exciting for me. But also, I know that it's exactly what the world wants. It's exactly what my ideal client wants right now. So it means that I can then go out, and rather than just trying to sell the Balance Code Startup School exactly as it is, I can say to people like, yes, you're going to get all of the training. Yes, you're going to get all of the live calls. Like, yes, you're going to get access to me in the Facebook group. But actually, if you're joining, and I think we're going to start in Feb, but if you're joining, you know, between now and then, you're also going to get access to this live thing, which adds so much more value to the course and to the whole process, but it's going to come at the exact same price. So it's like such an incredible way to give people that momentum to actually buy in that moment. So I want you to think like, what does this look like for you? How do you create this link where your content is either pushing people into a funnel or getting people onto a discovery call or getting people to a point where they want to actually make a purchase from you? How is all of your activities, your networking, your webinars, your live challenges, any talks that you're doing, podcast guesting, whatever it is, how is all of that structuring to actually get people into your email list or into a discovery call to start having that conversation of how they can potentially be customers? Now, there's so much here, and I just want you to think like, what is the one thing that you want to take away from this? What is the one thing that you want to do differently? Do you want to go and ask your customers for referrals? Do you want to ask them for testimonial videos and actually use that on social media, pushing people to come and get on discovery calls? Do you want to like do the whole funnel, actually say, okay, this is the lead magnet I'm leading to, and I'm going to go and do 6 different talks that all push to this lead magnet, or I'm going to go and approach 10 different podcasts to be on their podcasts in 2025. Like, what are the things you're actually going to do to build that visibility, build that presence, build that ability for somebody to say, yes, you are the person that I want to help me, and then go through that process of creating your business structure. Once you've got something that works, you can then build that into a funnel and it can become an automated process. But you've got to think this through in how you structure what this looks like and how you're going to go about doing this in the world. Now, we are almost at the end of 2025. As I'm recording this, we're coming to the end of November. This will be our last November video. And in December, we're going to have a few more meditations. I'm going to do some 2025 business planning on the YouTube channel. If you do want to, you can obviously download that template guide for your 2025 planning. And the next video that we do, we're going to talk a lot more about that guide and how you can actually use it and what it will look like, you know, to support your business. But if you haven't already, please like and subscribe on the channel. It really makes such a huge difference to be able to support the channel, get it out. We have gone over 100 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible. And I would love to grow that number really, really substantially in 2025 and get the videos out to more people who need them and need access to free information. So it would be absolutely stunning if you could do that. If nothing else for me today, is subscribe to the channel. If you want to be an absolute star, you could recommend the channel to your business bestie and get them to come over and subscribe too, because that would be wonderful. But I will be back with you next week and we will be diving into some 2025 planning, and then we'll be doing some end of year relaxation meditations to just get us into the flow of enjoying and relaxing, dropping our cortisol levels, getting ourselves ready for holiday, and then we'll come back into 2025 with a bang as always. So I cannot wait to see you. All of the links for everything we discussed are down below in the caption so that you can go and you can get access to any of those guides, any of those templates, and get your planning for 2025 underway. I cannot wait to see you thrive more in 2025.